MK Murtaugh Mert Witness 1, and good afternoon to everyone. It's shortly afternoon today. Interesting things going on. We've got runoff elections going on in Georgia and all sorts of things. Now, today is basically going to be just a general rant on my mobile-thon. There really isn't a fixed topic. I was going to discuss a little bit the fiasco that happened Monday with Lin Wood and his post, but in the end it turned out to be something of a non-event. Lin Wood posted an article about a conspiracy theorist that a resident idiot from Minnesota had written 4 years ago, and he basically got bitch slapped for it. And when he attempted to repair the damage, he got bitch slapped again. So Mr. Lin Wood found himself in a bit of a no-win situation. But that's the way it is in the weird and wild and wacky weird world of the conspiracy theorist community. So enough of that. Basically what I'm doing is I'm going to go over in a little bit more detail what my future plans are. Now, as some of you know, I've been kind of begging, I guess you could call it, or trying to get to the 1,000 level on YouTube so they could grant me the privilege of mobile live streaming. Now, I have been at the 1,000 mark and above for quite a while. Every once in a while it dips below that, but it rebounds back up again. Last checked I was around 1,005 or so. But that's subject to change at any second. And the problem is it's not doing me any good to be at 1,000. YouTube is basically sitting on its hands. A lot of this stuff is done through algorithms and automation, and there's rarely a human behind any decision on YouTube, as I've been researching just how this process works, and it works by algorithms. And the algorithm that is supposed to give me the 1,000 subscriber privileges hasn't happened yet. I got a nice kind letter from YouTube saying, congratulations, you're at 1,000, and that's as far as it went. Well, I'm not going to wait, because the one thing I have found when doing my live streams is I don't get 1,000 people tuning in. I get 20 people tuning in. And if all I am going to get is 20 people in a live stream, then it's not a very productive use of my time. Now, I do get 100, 200 people that eventually watch my mobile-thons, and that's a satisfactory level for what I'm trying to do. So, the mobile-thons seem to be the more efficient way of carrying out my activities on social media, and because of that, the future of live streaming on YouTube, at least mobile, is in question, because it may not be worth the effort to get it. Instead, what I'm going to do is I am going to start mobile live streaming on Facebook. And I'm going to mobile live stream from my room that I have on Facebook. I have a From the Desk of Mert Witness 1 Live on Facebook. And not only am I going to live stream on Facebook, but I'm also going to start putting my content on Facebook. I may start doing an archive where I put up all the videos that I have on YouTube over onto Facebook. It's going to take me time to do it, but it looks like this is the direction I'm going. And I may also do the same thing on BitChute once I learn the ins and outs of that medium. The only problem with BitChute is it scares people off because they put a disclaimer on Twitter that the site might be unsafe, because apparently there's a bit of a pissing match going on between BitChute and Twitter. As far as Parler, I don't know. That's a bastion for the wacky right, so I may stay away from that one. But I am exploring other social media options as I go forward to try and figure the best way to live stream once these trials start up. Right now, things are kind of on hold, and the Zoom or remote teleconferences that are taking place of courtroom proceedings aren't really worth having the mobile live streaming capability. If this trend continues where these trials go online rather than in the courtroom, there's no point in even going down to the various locations where these trials are going to take place. That's a decision that I am going to have to make once these things go forward. In the case of Phil McConnell, there is supposed to be a hearing tomorrow. Now, whether or not that hearing takes place is a question, and I may have the answer to that by the time I start processing this video for putting on YouTube. And if I do get any word from the court by then, I will put it on this video about here as to what any ultimate decision is as far as whether or not there is going to be a hearing tomorrow. And if something happens between the time this recording goes up on YouTube and tomorrow morning, I will update on my Twitter account, because that's my primary texting account for right now. I don't do that much on Facebook because of the way the phones are working, so I kind of steer away from Facebook a little bit, at least for now. So, the way it looks at this present time is that I will be doing a shift over to Facebook for my mobile live streams. And this is going to begin almost immediately, and it may begin tomorrow. I will likely start doing experimental live streams on my Facebook channel tomorrow, January 6th. And then I will also do my mobile-thon. It'll be a simulcast because I will be streaming to Facebook and doing a mobile-thon at the same time. And I can do it on one phone, but I may do it on two just to ensure that this goes through. I have to do a couple of experiments to see if I can pull this off. But in one way or another, I will be live streaming tomorrow on Facebook. It would be sometime between noon and 1 p.m. Eastern that I will be live streaming on Facebook. I will live stream, at least planning to do so, on my room over there from the desk at Witness One Live on Facebook. It is a public room. There's no special requirements to join it. You just log in and view it. This will limit the abilities of trolls to screw things up, because one thing that happens with my live streams on Facebook is, number one, I don't pay attention to the chat because I'm driving. I can't, because you start getting distracted while driving. That's not a good thing. I'm able to do my videos, mobile thons and so forth, because I'm not concentrating on the screen, I'm concentrating on the road. And it's like talking to somebody next to you in the car. You're basically riding along with me. And so in that respect, this solves the problem of any distraction. And the video is the same way. it does not show the chat, or at least show it in a way that I can read it, so I don't pay any attention to the chats. So if I'm live streaming on Facebook tomorrow and you say something to me, I won't see it until after I'm off the air, because I don't read the chats. And so there's no way of knowing, number one, how many people are on line watching the live stream, and any that choose to chat. I just simply will not see it. So there's that. Now, I have not decided yet if I'm going to put this Mobile-thon on Facebook, because when I do the software to do it on Facebook, it goes to my public account. And I'm not sure that I want to do that yet. Usually my main account at Facebook I have for the purposes of separating from my personal activities on Facebook and my social media activities, as I might want to call it, my live streaming, discussing things of interest, that sort of thing has always been a little bit separate from Facebook, but that may change. So, that's in the planning stages, but that's one of the things that I was planning on doing. Now, as far as Facebook and live streaming, let me correct myself here. As far as live streaming through Twitter, I don't know as if that's going to work either. Twitter uses Periscope as their means of streaming through their services, and I have not found it satisfactory, for the simple reason that once my streams are done on Twitter, they seem to disappear. It's not as easy for people to find them as it is on YouTube or even on Facebook. So the use of Periscope is something that may not be in the cards. Now, I know other people use things such as Twitch or other means of streaming, either directly or through YouTube. It's something that I just chosen not to do yet. I do have a presence on these various platforms, but they're just sitting idle. Now, that may change in the future. I don't know yet. The problem I have with some of these sites is, one, is primarily for gamers. It's these sites where you see guys that they stream themselves playing their games for hours on end on this particular platform. And so that would be the wrong crowd for me to be getting to. A 70-year-old broadcasting on a gaming site in itself is rather strange, and then to be broadcasting something that has nothing to do with gaming through a gaming site is also something that would be rather strange, and that's why I've hesitated to do it to this point. But that may change. One thing I'm going to try to do this year is to do a lot of aerospace-based live streaming. I'm going to go over to the Kennedy Space Center at least once in the near future to do a live stream from there. I attempted to do it the last time, and it was with mixed results. It's another reason that I wanted to do mobile live streaming, is I wanted to stream from the Space Center, as well as from various locations throughout the state of Florida. And because of the status with YouTube, all these projects are going to have to shift over to Facebook. And so what you would have seen on YouTube, you are going to see on Facebook. Now, if there is a way for me to copy the activities that I do over on Facebook and repost them to YouTube, I will do that. These test phase things are what I plan on doing in the future. And I'm also going to be doing, as I mentioned before, something called Mert Goes Old School. And this is going to be going over various things that I have used over the years to accomplish what I want to accomplish. CB radios, camcorders, cameras, computers, and even the live truck will be making an appearance sometime this year. Now, the live truck is basically out of service. I don't intend on doing that much with it, but I may do live streams from it because in that respect, it is still capable of doing that. Mechanically, the live truck, for all intents and purposes, is shot. The truck has not run for 8 years, and so I doubt it'll ever be driven again. Now, it may be used as a platform because it can be towed, but it's not going to be used for live locations. The van is obsolete. Towing the live truck across the state of Florida simply to use the mast that's on it is a bit of overkill. It's impractical, and it simply isn't going to be done. The live truck served its purpose, and it is officially retired. As to what the future is for the live truck, it's uncertain at this point. It may wind up being a washing machine or a Toyota someday, as all vehicles that get that old have happened to them, but that remains to be seen. That's something I won't do for quite a long time, because I have to be prepared. If I'm going to send it to the crusher, I've got to make preparations to do that. But, it's something I don't want to do. It's just one of those things where, it's outlived its usefulness, I guess you could say. So we'll see what happens with that. One of the plans that I did have in mind was salvaging the equipment that's on the van. It's got a $10,000 piece of equipment on that van that I'd like to get off of there, and that is the telescopic tower. That is a very expensive piece of equipment, and I would like to salvage it. But, that remains to be seen, because salvaging it and finding out something to do with it are two different things. I do have a project in mind where I might do that. It's kind of like, yes, I'm going to do it, or no, I'm not going to do it. So we'll see what happens to the live truck tower and to the roof deck. There was the option of going out and getting another van and just retrofitting everything. I've talked to my vendor down in Clearwater, and it can be done. And, as I've always done with these things in the past, but I don't know as if I can justify the cost of doing so, because you can do the same thing that the live truck does for a fraction of the price. And that even includes if I were to salvage the tower. So that's something that I'm going to be researching as the months go by, as to what to do with the live truck. And the replacement for the live truck is what the Mesa project is all about. Because the live truck had the primary purpose of being a studio. And so the Mesa project is going to be a mobile studio. It's going to be something that I can hook up to my Escape and go places. And as to precisely what the new Mesa project is going to entail will come out as the weeks go by, because now I'm in a position where I am going to start working on that. The Mesa project is going to be a multi-purpose project where the unit is not simply going to be a mobile witness one, but it is going to serve other purposes as well. Because there's no point in having a single-use vehicle might as well be a multi-use vehicle, and that is the in turn of Mobile Witness 1, which is what it's going to be designated. I want to get this thing up and running to be used this spring or summer at the latest, because it is what I'm going to be using to cover some of the activities that are going to be going on in the state of Florida in the next year. It's just for logistical purposes, this thing will be quite practical. So, as time goes on and I get this thing fabricated, the reasoning will become quite clear as to why I am doing what I'm doing. Kind of a different approach, but it's one I've decided to take. That's the T10 project is another retrofit. This purpose of this thing is slightly different, as you will understand as we go forth with that, as is the Townie project. The Townie project is one to kind of do something a little bit unique, and so that will be coming up. And there are a couple of other projects that I can't talk about right now because it'd be a little too obvious what they are. So those two projects are basically coming up in the coming months, and they're along the same lines as a multi-purpose thing, just to demonstrate some of the things that I'm interested in and what I want to do with live streaming. Now, these various projects are going to shift over to Facebook for the most part, because again, I do not have live streaming capabilities as of yet on YouTube. So I'm shifting all this over to Facebook. And so what I will be doing tomorrow is going to be an experiment. It's going to be an experiment of what the capabilities are on these various platforms with my live streaming, and to test out the capabilities and see just how I am going to do this. And so stay tuned for that. And so basically that's it for today. I just wanted to give a kind of a haphazard idea of what I have planned in the coming months to try and diversify what I do online. So the Mesa project, whatever I decide to do with the live truck and other things that I have in the works, is going to be out there. So we'll see how everything goes. In the meantime, I hope everybody enjoys their day. Those of you up in Georgia, get out and vote. Make sure to take your IDs with you to the polls and all this. And let's see what happens there. Tomorrow we're going to have the Field McConnell thing. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see how that goes. In the future, we have Neely Blanchard coming up. We have Cynthia Absug, which was delayed until March, I believe. I will be updating on that. And we have other things. As I attempt to drift away from talking about those people that don't matter, the people up in Minnesota that don't matter, all these idiotic conspiracy theories that don't matter. Quite honestly, I'm fed up with all this childishness, and it's time to move on. Hopefully, I can go into these new adventures and still retain my audience. Those of you who have decided that they want to stick around and discuss the conspiracy theorists at length, I understand if you decide to go elsewhere, but, enough is enough. It doesn't mean I'm completely going away from them. It's just that right now, nothing they are doing is relevant. It's just the same old gibberish over and over and over again. So let's see if we can find something more constructive to talk about as we go down the road. One thing I'm going to do, is just sticking in a last minute comment here, is I will be talking about pedophiles. I'm going to cover pedophiles more often in the state of Florida. As these people get arrested, I'm going to profile them so we know who's running around in our community that have been accused of being pedophiles and what ultimately happens to these people in the court. This is one of the reasons that I need to get court access in Orange County, because I am going to put these people live on the air being tried in court. That's one of my goals. So that's part of what we have planned for 2021. So that's it, folks. You all have a good day. This is William K. Murtaugh, Mert Witness 1 Live. Have a good one.